Over on TikTok, a user named Danny C shared a series of videos that capture some seriously eerie activity inside his young child's bedroom, seemingly in the middle of the night. The footage, recorded on a home security camera, begins with Danny walking into the room. He sighs as he notices toys scattered across the floor and bends down to pick them up. But he doesn't get far, because then this happens.
Cardo! This just opened by itself. While I was in there.
Did you move Mickey Mouse?
Close it, please. Nobody's in there, right? Can you check?
The bedroom door suddenly swings open on its own for no apparent reason. Startled, Danny immediately calls for another person in the house to come help. The two men search the room, but find nothing that could explain what just happened. In a second video, the other man is seen wandering around the child's room. The two of them get into a brief argument about something, but right in the middle of their conversation, something even stranger occurs.
Don't yell like that.
I was putting my hand by my nose, but I
Look at
wasn't
me.
picking it.
First of all, don't raise your voice like that. It's inappropriate. And see, now the ghost is very upset. Don't do that.
Out of nowhere, one of the child's toys visibly shifts across the floor on its own. Incredibly, both Danny and the other man laugh it off, brushing aside what they just witnessed as though it were nothing. Skeptics might suggest that doors and toys can sometimes move because of airflow, vibrations, or mechanical faults. But the timing and the fact that it happens twice in quick succession makes those explanations feel far less convincing. So what do you think? Is Danny's child's bedroom haunted by a playful spirit? Or is there a more down-to-earth explanation for what we're seeing? Whatever the case, if this activity continues, Danny may want to consider moving his family out, just to be safe. Danny's encounter raised questions about whether unseen forces could really interact with everyday objects. But what happens when the presence doesn't just move things, but seems to engage directly with both people and animals in the home? That's exactly what one man discovered after moving into a new house, and his camera, and even his dog, captured the chilling proof. Over on the Paranormal Encounter subreddit, a user known as SageMan123 posted a chilling video filmed by his friend shortly after moving into a new house. The clip begins innocently enough. The man is speaking casually to the camera about his new place, but quickly his dog becomes fixated on something unseen in the distance. At first, he laughs it off, talking about how unsettling the whole situation feels. But then, without warning, something happens that stops him cold.
You alright? Mm-hmm. I know. I think something's wrong. I don't know. I hear noises, but I'm not even sure. Are you kidding me right now?
An unexplained event jolts him into silence, his voice cracking with shock as he tries to make sense of what just unfolded. From that point on, he records quietly, almost as if he's afraid that speaking again might trigger something worse. Moments later, the tension spikes when his dog suddenly erupts into loud, frantic barking, its attention locked on something inside the house. No matter how much he tries to calm the animal, the barking doesn't stop. Instead, it grows more aggressive, more desperate, and then it happens again.
What's wrong with you? What's wrong? Jackson. Jackson. What's wrong? There's banging and stuff. The fuck?
The door in the room begins to move, slowly, deliberately, closing on its own as the dog continues to snarl. The rest of the video passes without further incident, but the damage is done. The uploader claims his friend packed up and moved out not long after, and it's hard to blame him. Of course, skeptics will point to possible explanations: a draft, uneven flooring, changes in air pressure, even a dog reacting to distant sounds or subtle movements we can't perceive. But the timing, the barking, the escalating tension, and then the door closing by itself feels a little too precise, a little too eerie to brush off entirely. And honestly, whether you believe in the paranormal or not, anyone standing in that room would have felt the same chill. Because sometimes, all it takes is one unexplained sound, one movement you can't explain, to make you question whether you're truly alone. If doors can close on their own in one house, then in another, even the most ordinary parts of a home, like curtains, can seem to take on a life of their own. And that's exactly what one TikTok user claims to have caught on camera late at night. TikTok user Kills25 shared a piece of home security footage that begins quietly enough, but the calm doesn't last long. The video shows a still living room in the dead of night, until the curtains suddenly shift and pull open on their own, despite no one being anywhere near them. Startled, the homeowner quickly walks over to close them, only for the curtains to slide open again, as if someone or something is deliberately trying to peek outside. These aren't automatic curtains, they appear to be simple, manual ones. And while skeptics might point to drafts, vents, or an open window, the steady, intentional way they move doesn't quite match the randomness of air currents. The homeowner's reaction makes it clear this wasn't normal for their house. Maybe it was just a trick of airflow. Or maybe, in that quiet living room, something unseen was trying to get a better look. Either way, it's the kind of moment that makes you think twice before sleeping with your curtains open. Curtains moving on their own is unsettling enough, but in some cases, the disturbances don't stop at subtle hints. Sometimes the activity escalates into something far louder, far more violent, leaving no doubt that whatever is there wants to be noticed. It was precisely 1 a.m. when two friends, in what should have been a carefree sleepover, sensed that something unnatural had crept into Will's apartment.
Alright guys, it's about 1 o'clock. It's been happening every night. About this time we hear a noise. Not really sure what it is, but it's starting to freak us out. See if we can maybe get it on film. You hear that?
What is that?
Oh, that was a noise.
I'll look over here. I don't hear it anymore. James' closet.
He stopped. Oh my God!
Faint, menacing noises began to echo through the rooms, drawing them toward one isolated corner of the home. But the moment they reached the source, the sound stopped, abruptly, unnervingly, as though something had deliberately lured them in. Seconds later, the answer came. Without warning, objects scattered violently across the floor, captured clearly on camera. Frozen in shock, Will and his friends sprinted back to their beds, diving beneath the covers in pure terror, whispering a vow they both intended to keep. Never again would they confront the horrifying entity that had revealed itself that night. When strange noises and objects flying across a room are enough to send friends diving under the covers, imagine living in a place where the disturbances don't just happen once, but return again and again, growing darker each time. Wyatt and his loved ones once believed they were living in their dream home. Everything was peaceful, until the sudden, unexplained death of their beloved cat. From that moment on, the house transformed into a hotspot of disturbing paranormal activity. The family reached out to professionals in search of answers, but no one could help. And the reason was simple: there was never solid proof. Until now. One evening, while the rest of the family was out celebrating, Wyatt stayed behind. That's when loud, echoing bangs erupted from the basement. Gripped by equal parts fear and determination, he grabbed his camera and made his way downstairs. What he recorded that night remains one of the most chilling ghost videos ever captured.
You guys are hearing that, right? Hello? Ever since our cat passed away, things have kind of been picking up. I'm not going back there. Hello? Damn it. Who are you? Get the hell out of here. Jesus. Dude. Stop. Oh, dude.
The footage is filled with unsettling moments, unexplained noises, objects shifting on their own, and even a mysterious swinging motion with no visible cause. But one incident stood out above the rest. A ball suddenly rolled across the room, appearing from nowhere as if pushed by an invisible force. It didn't come from a corner, and no one was nearby. A few days later, Wyatt was once again alone in the house. His son was at school, and the house was empty. He picked up the camera again. What he captured this time was far more terrifying.
Excuse me. Are you back there again? This has become its favorite spot. Now, and there he is. Okay, that's enough water, please. Okay. Everyone can see you in their reflection, bud. Everyone can see you in their reflection. And it's gone. Okay. I know he's not in here, but I just want anyone who's watching to see. This is too small, but just like it's not. I just wanted you to see. The cabinets are knocking again. I'm leaving.
The video begins with faucets turning on by themselves and small objects sliding as though shoved by unseen hands. But then came the moment that froze him in place. In the reflection of the refrigerator door, a dark shadow figure slowly glided out of view. Wyatt rushed toward the room where it seemed to disappear. But when he got there, the room was silent, empty, untouched. No footsteps, no presence, nothing. The only conclusion Wyatt could make was the one that chilled him to his core. What he had just seen was a ghost. Inside a house, shadows in a reflection can leave you questioning your own eyes. But when something unexplainable drifts across an open yard, far from the confines of four walls, the fear takes on a different weight. Because if spirits can move freely out there, what's stopping them from crossing into the places we feel safest? This video was posted to TikTok by user CCE Pedril in February of this year, and it quickly became one of the eerier clips to make the rounds online. At first glance, the footage looks completely ordinary. Just another grainy recording from a security camera in the middle of the night. The yard is still, the scene uneventful, and nothing appears out of place. But then, only moments later, something happens that shifts the entire mood. Out of the darkness, a strange, ghostly figure drifts into view, slowly crossing the frame with a motion that seems almost too smooth, too deliberate to belong to a normal passerby. The figure doesn't appear to hurry or hesitate. It simply glides, faint and pale against the night, before vanishing as the video abruptly cuts off. Reactions online have been mixed. Some viewers believe this is clear evidence of a spirit, perhaps lingering near a location tied to its past. Others argue it could just as easily be a person walking by, distorted by distance, shadows, or the camera's low resolution. Still, those explanations don't completely settle the unease, because the way the figure moves feels just slightly wrong, as if detached from the natural rhythm of human steps. And that's what makes this video so unsettling. It doesn't provide answers, only questions. Was it a late-night passerby, or something that doesn't quite belong to our world? Whatever the case, it leaves viewers with a lingering sense of dread, the kind that makes you glance at your own security footage and wonder if something might be wandering past when you're not looking. It's one thing to spot a ghostly shape gliding across a yard in the middle of the night, but it's something else entirely when that presence seems to follow you indoors. Because in the silence of a house, especially one you're considering making your own, there's nowhere to hide from the thought that you might not be the only one exploring its rooms. TikTok user Sherlucero posted the following video while touring a house she was considering buying. She explained that her husband hates house hunting, so she was filming inside to show him later. At the time of recording, she said the only people inside were herself and her estate agent. Take a close look at this moment.
To that bathroom. And that goes.
If you watch carefully, you can see what appears to be a ghostly head briefly peeking into the room, before vanishing without a trace. Sherlucero later admitted she didn't even notice anything unusual until she re-watched the footage later that day. And here's where it gets even stranger. The estate agent's voice can clearly be heard coming from another room at the exact moment this figure appears, ruling her out entirely. So who, or what, was it? Skeptics might argue the figure resembles a woman and suggest that maybe a third person somehow wandered into frame. But Sherlucero insists no one else was there. And considering how calm and empty the house otherwise appears, the timing feels almost impossibly precise. Could it have been an intruder slipping in and out unnoticed? Or was something far less human caught on camera? Whatever the answer, this brief moment raises a chilling question. Just how alone was she inside that house? Catching a ghostly figure peeking around a corner is frightening enough. But sometimes the scariest discoveries aren't paranormal at all. Because while spirits may unsettle us, the thought of a stranger secretly sharing your home can be far more disturbing. Over on TikTok, a user going by Adventures with D-Baby posted a series of videos that begin innocently enough, but soon take an unsettling turn. In the first clip, she's seen unlocking a door in her home when, behind her, the attic entrance suddenly creaks open on its own. She hears the sound, glances back quickly, and then, almost unnervingly, shrugs it off. She doesn't scream, doesn't panic. Instead, she simply continues walking into the room as though nothing happened. That calm reaction somehow makes the moment feel even more eerie. In the second and third videos, her landlord arrives to help investigate. Together, they open the attic and look inside. At first, there's no one up there. But something about the scene feels wrong. Several small holes can be seen in the boards, holes the woman insists weren't there before. And then comes the chilling discovery: a blanket and a pillow tucked neatly into the attic space, as though someone had been living there in secret. That changes everything. Paranormal activity is one explanation, but this points to something maybe even more terrifying: the possibility that a stranger had been secretly hiding inside the house. Of course, there are mundane reasons an attic door might swing open: drafts, loose hinges, changes in temperature. But when you add bedding in the attic and unexplained damage to the boards, it becomes much harder to dismiss. One moment, it's the possibility of a ghostly figure appearing where no one should be. But in the next, the unease shifts into something far more tangible. Proof that sometimes the danger inside a home isn't supernatural at all, but flesh and blood. A Williamsburg resident named Abby Sabata posted a TikTok video that shows her exploring an old, allegedly haunted basement, and it may be a decision she deeply regretted. The footage begins with Abby wandering through the dim, crumbling space, her camera panning across the walls and doors. She remarks that the place looks like it might once have been a prison. Many of the doors resemble cell blocks, complete with heavy bars and narrow openings. As she continues deeper into the basement, commenting on the eerie cell-like layout, something happens that shakes her to the core.
Like, there are these, what looks like prison cells down here. Look at these. Tell me that's not absolutely horrifying. What the hell? Did you see that shadow? Oh my God. Hello?
A strange sound suddenly echoes through the space, followed by the appearance of a shadowy figure. What makes it truly chilling is that Abby appears to be completely alone. No one else is visible in the basement with her. The video ends just seconds later, cutting off before we can see what happens next. Thankfully, Abby wasn't harmed, and she still posts regularly on TikTok. But as far as this particular video goes, no update has ever been shared. Skeptics suggest the shadow may have been cast by someone outside, perhaps light filtering in through a small window. It's not impossible. But when you watch the clip closely, the timing and angle of the shadow feels strangely off. It doesn't behave the way a normal shadow should. So what was it? A lingering spirit tied to a darker past? A trick of the light? Or simply the mind conjuring fear in an already unsettling setting? If that basement truly was once part of a prison, then perhaps something from those days still remains. And in places like this, anything is possible. Abby's encounter in that eerie basement was terrifying enough, but at least she chose to step into the unknown. In the next case, the unknown came looking for someone right inside their own home, captured on a security camera in chilling detail. This next video was uploaded by Reddit user SakiGate9281, who captured something incredibly unsettling on a home security camera. It begins with the house alarm suddenly blaring, immediately setting a tense, uneasy tone. But what happens next is far stranger. Across the frame, a pale, ghostly figure drifts into view, moving with an unnatural smoothness. What makes this clip stand out from countless other ghost videos is one crucial detail. As the figure moves, it casts a clear, distinct shadow. That single element has left viewers rattled. After all, most so-called mist or orb sightings fail to show any kind of interaction with their surroundings. Skeptics have suggested fog, smoke, or even a camera malfunction. But if it were just a glitch, the shadow wouldn't be there, or at the very least, it wouldn't move in sync with the figure. That detail raises serious questions about what was really caught on tape. The clip was posted just a few months ago, and so far, no further updates have surfaced. For now, the mystery remains unsolved, and the only certainty is that the homeowners are probably still wondering whether they'll ever get another good night's sleep. Security footage can leave us uneasy because it feels objective, mechanical, like the camera has no reason to lie. But sometimes, the most unsettling encounters aren't captured by security systems at all. They happen in the very places we should feel safest, like our own bedrooms. In this next clip, TikTok user Adam Tristan captures what at first looks like an ordinary quiet night in his bedroom, until you spot something that makes your stomach drop.
No mames. Ya lo vi, jefe. Parte ahí, por la... ¿Será que me acerco?
Sí.
If you look closely, a pale, human-like face can be seen peering out from the narrow closet in the corner of the room. Moments later, the mirrored closet door slowly creaks open on its own, as if whatever was hiding inside decided to step closer. No extra context is provided, which only makes the mystery worse. Could it be someone secretly hiding in the closet? A well-planned prank? Or something far more sinister? While skeptics might chalk it up to lighting tricks or a staged setup, the stillness of the face combined with the independent movement of the door gives this clip a chilling edge. Because if it isn't staged, then something was waiting in that closet. And honestly, if that were my bedroom, I wouldn't be sleeping there again anytime soon. As unnerving as it is to imagine something hiding just a few feet away in your own room, what happens when the disturbances refuse to stay contained to a single night and instead begin to follow you wherever you go? A TikTok user named Vicky has been steadily documenting a string of disturbing events that seem to surround him. It began more than a year ago during his late-night shifts at a convenience store. At first, it was subtle. Objects moving on their own, faint whispers breaking the silence, and an unshakable feeling of being watched. But soon, the sinister presence haunting his workplace appeared to follow him home.
And my neighbors called, and they said that my light is flickering in my apartment. So, let's go look. Nobody should be in here right now. Bro, why is my pipe? Why is that on? was that damn door? That door was not shut. I don't. Who are you? What do you want? I'm out.
One night, after receiving a frantic call from his neighbor, Vicky rushed back to his apartment to find the lights inside flickering wildly. Fearing an intruder, he stepped cautiously through the door, only to discover his stove mysteriously lit. Heart-pounding, he crept from room to room, checking every corner, desperate to convince himself no one was hiding there. Finally, overwhelmed by fear, he shouted into the emptiness, "What do you want?"
What do you want? What do you want? What do you want?
The reply came instantly. A chilling, disembodied voice echoed through the apartment, speaking just one word: leave. The sound jolted through Vicky's body, freezing him with terror before instinct took over. He bolted for the door, desperate to escape the dark entity that had made its presence known inside his home. If a single word from the darkness is enough to send someone running from their own home, imagine the terror of hearing voices that don't belong at your door, calling to you when no one is really there. We'll be looking at 2 videos posted on TikTok in March of 2025 by a woman named Emily Dell. In her first video, Emily explains that she had been hearing strange noises at her door and decided to set up her camera to capture whatever was happening. And sure enough, she did. At first, it's difficult to make out what's going on beyond the door. But as Emily moves closer, the sounds become disturbingly clear. It almost sounds like a mix of static and faint crackling, but layered within is something even stranger: the sound of a voice. At first, Emily thought it might have been an animal outside, but soon she realized that wasn't the case at all. In a second video uploaded shortly after, Emily walks through her house and shows viewers that no one is outside her door.
And this is why I can't call the cops, because when I go to look, there's no one there. I know it's hard to see, but I'm not opening the door. There's like no one out there. I'm like, this is a window. There's no people, but this is a window, and you can really see out there. And it's hard to see out there. So I don't know what the hell is going on.
That detail only adds more fuel to the mystery, making the entire situation feel even more unsettling. So what could this be? Some viewers suggested it might be the work of a mimic, a type of paranormal entity said to copy human voices in order to lure people closer. Others believe it could be linked to a skinwalker, a figure from Navajo folklore known for shape-shifting and imitating voices to deceive or terrify. But how plausible are those theories? Mimics are more of a modern internet urban legend with little historical background, though their popularity has grown because of how eerily believable they feel. Skinwalkers, on the other hand, come directly from Native American tradition, though their stories are deeply tied to specific cultural and spiritual beliefs. It's unlikely Emily's video captured an actual skinwalker, but the behavior she documented, from the strange noises to the imitation of a human voice, certainly mirrors how these entities are often described. Whatever the explanation may be, one thing is certain. Emily encountered something at her door that night that left her deeply unsettled. Now that was all for today, folks. If you enjoyed these horrifying clips, click to see more on the video on screen.